Hello everyone, Krisha this side. Welcome to my channel, Learn and Have Fun with Krisha. Today we are going to explore and understand the geological timeline. Let us first understand the meaning of geological timeline. I will divide the word into two parts first, geological and timeline. Geological is the word that comes from the word geology. Geology is the branch of science that deals with the physical structure and substance of the earth, their history, and the processes which act on them. And timeline is all the events of a specific category arranged in the order of their occurrence. Hence, geological timeline is the representation of the evolution of the earth. But what is evolution? Evolution is the process by which kinds of organisms, living or dead, are believed to have developed from earlier forms during the history of the earth. Basically, it is the development of something. Here, as you can see, this is the development of an ape to a man. Now, before I move on with the geological timeline, I would like to tell you that we will also be seeing the universe and the Earth's existence. Okay, now before we continue, how can someone tell me how old is the Earth or what is the age of the Earth? How was it formed? Or how did life begin on Earth? No one has the exact answers to these questions. These questions have fascinated the scientists for centuries. During the 1800s, geologists, paleontologists, and even naturalists found several forms of physical evidence that confirmed that Earth is very old. It is believed that Earth is 4.543 billion years old. Next, now how did the universe come into existence? Yes, it is the Big Bang theory that attempts to explain as the origin of the universe. It talks of a single huge explosion unimaginable in physical terms. It is believed that the universe is about 13 billion years old. Next comes the Earth. How did the Earth come into existence? After the formation of the universe, it expanded and hence the temperature came down, forming hydrogen and helium sometime later. Hydrogen and helium condensed and formed the galaxies of the present day universe. In the solar system of the Milky Way galaxy, Earth was supposed to have formed about 5 billion years back. There was no atmosphere on the Earth before methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia released from molten mass covered the Earth. The UV rays from the sun broke up water into hydrogen and oxygen, and the lighter hydrogen escaped. Oxygen combined with ammonia and methane to form water, CO2, and others also. This formed the ozone layer of the Earth. As Earth cooled, water vapor fell as rain to fill all depressions and form oceans. And this led to the formation of the Earth. Now, let's move on to our main topic now. That is the geological time scale. The time scale can be explained using various things. I would like to explain it through a simple clock dial. The steps to make this clock dial are on your screen. Now, before I continue with my explanation with the clock, I would like to explain it to you verbally. The transition period between the formation of the Earth and the first eon, that is the Archean eon, is called as the Precambrian. This period has a lot of importance as it was when the rock formation started, when life began on Earth, and the living creatures included single cell organisms similar to bacteria started evolving. Later, there was an explosion on the Earth, which is known as the Cambrian explosion, and this led to the formation of multicellular organisms. Later came the plants and the animals, followed by the arthropods, that is, the insects and spiders. Next were the amphibians, followed by mammals, and then the birds. Even though large organisms have been very successful on Earth, there are still very small, relatively simple prokaryotics which are still unknown to us. Advanced technologies, however, do allow for the identification and study of such organisms. Fossils indicate that approximately 99% of the species that have ever lived on Earth no longer exist. Now we will see the evolution of the major life forms on Earth in order with the help of a flowchart. It started with the formation of the Earth. The solid crusts formed. The single-cell organisms, that is the bacteria, came into existence. The green algae and bacteria evolved. Massive volcanic eruptions and earthquakes worldwide happened. And this was all of the Archean eon, which also included the Cambrian explosion. The earliest fossils evolved with the starting of the next eon. This also led to the formation of the first shell fossils. This all is included in the Proterozoic eon. Now the next eon is the Phanerozoic eon, which is divided into three parts. Phanerozoic eon has Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, and the Cenozoic era. Let's see the first era. It started with the formation of first land plants were formed. Later, amphibians evolved from fish. This led to the rise of dinosaurs. Even mammals started evolving. All this is included in the Paleozoic era. The dinosaurs died out with the end of the Paleozoic era. This is the Mesozoic era. The humans appeared in the last era, that is, the Cenozoic era. Now, let us see the different eons and the eras that have existed on the Earth. It starts with the first eon, that is the Archean eon. The Archean eon has existed from about 3.8 to 2.5 billion years. The earliest rocks were formed during this era. The next eon is the Proterozoic eon. It existed about 2.5 billion to 570 million years ago. The first life began to appear as hard-shelled animals. Next, we move on to the Phanerozoic eon. It began about 570 million years ago and is still going on. Abundant life and diverse animals evolved in this eon. Now, we will see the different eras that the Phanerozoic eon is divided into. The first era is the Paleozoic era. It existed about 570 million years ago to 245 million years ago. Ancient life such as fish, amphibians, and primitive life, reptiles, evolved during this era. Next is the Mesozoic era. It existed about 245 million to 65 million years ago. The first mammals and birds appeared in this era. Next is the Cenozoic era. It existed about 65 million years ago and is still going on. Mammals flourished and became dominant to form the humans, that is us. Now, we will move on to the dial explanation.
So as you all can see on your screens, this is the 12-hour clock dial that we are going to use to explain and explore the geological timeline. As you can see the different colors on the board, they show the different eons and eras. The red shows the Archean eon, the yellow shows the Proterozoic eon, and the three blues show the Phanerozoic eon. The darkest blue is the Paleozoic eon, the lighter blue is the Mesozoic eon, and the lightest one is the Cenozoic eon. So we will study each of the eons and the eras now. Let's start with the Archean eon. The Archean eon dates from the beginning of the world to around 2,500 million years ago. The oldest rocks were formed in these times. It starts with around 4,000 million years ago, the earth beginning. The solid crust forms then. The first living cells are believed to have formed after this, and after around 3,450 million years ago, it is believed that the green algae and bacteria have evolved. Around the end of the Archean eon, massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions happen worldwide. This brings a lot of change in the habitat of the world. Now, we move on to the Proterozoic eon. The Proterozoic eon is the age when the first real signs of life are seen on Earth, although life may have been begun at even earlier time. So it starts with around 2,300 million years ago. The first earliest fossils are found. Later, around after 1,150 million years ago, the first shell fossils are found, and this leads to the end of the Proterozoic eon. Next is the Phanerozoic eon. The Phanerozoic eon began 590 million years ago. It is split into three eras: the Paleozoic era, the Mesozoic era, and the Cenozoic era. The first land plants are believed to have evolved during the Paleozoic era, after which the amphibians also evolved from fish, which led to the rise of dinosaurs. The mammals also evolved during this era. The next era is the Mesozoic era. The dinosaurs died out in this era, and this led to the dominance of mammals. The last era is the Cenozoic era. Cenozoic era is the last era of the Phanerozoic eon, as well as of the full geological timeline. The humans have appeared in this era in the last half a second of this 12-hour clock dial. So that is it for the 12-hour clock dial explanation.
So that was it for today's video. Hope you understood it. And if you did, do like, share, and subscribe. And yes, there is a very special surprise waiting for you in the description box. So do check it out. We'll meet you in my next video. Till then, bye bye.